absolute an honor to have James speak her in the room with. So little background about James. He has been a licensed therapist for the past 15 years. Um, and he's also the founder, but prior to his own practice, also teaching at NYU and teaching students on counseling. So had really with our spirit mission to provide proper mental health and resources for the who are looking. So to start off, could you share with us inspire you to enter the field of mental health?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you for that amazing introduction. That was very kind of you. Yeah. So what inspired me? I've been doing mediation since high school years. And I'll say it's just always spoke to me to be able to help people through their journeys. I've always found it rewarding to be able to support people as they go through mental health concerns, to be able to learn coping strategies for anxiety, depression. I also find it rewarding when I can help couples, be able to reconnect and repair their relationships. When I see people heal through traumas. All of these things just speak to me. And I think that's the work. That's what's most important to me. That's what inspires me about doing the therapy.
You're like, it is a rewarding role to be able to take think other people's metamorphosis. So basic question, but I think it's important to ask. So could you tell us what is your role as a therapist? Do you prescribe? Is that or is it umbrella?
Yeah, a good question. For my role, I don't prescribe medications. That's more of someone that's a psychiatrist, which is like a medical doctor. The role of a mental health therapist, psychotherapist, counselor would be to support people through their journeys and be able to, through different approaches, be able to help them make changes. As I started to say earlier, it could be healing from traumas, it could be setting goals, it could help them with mental health concerns, learning how to, cope and deal with stress, anxiety in their lives. So there's just so many facets to being a therapist and what you can do.
Right. And also, so who comes into your session? Because I know there's a lot of stigma that only mentally severe people who such support. And I believe that's not the only. So could you share with us your experience on that?
Yeah, 100%. There could be, many organizations that do have severely mentally ill populations and practitioners that work with them. For me, it looks different. And I'm glad you said that because there is something to be said about the stigma. There doesn't have to be something significantly wrong or severe symptoms to be able to be in therapy. Therapy can be about, just setting goals and talking about the what's next in your life, talking about defining what purpose means for someone. It could be someone that just needs a space, a safe space, a non-judgmental space to be able to have someone to listen to that. So with all that said, the populations I work with would be couples and families, individuals that are dealing and coping with some mental health concerns, all the way to people that are saying, I just would love to have tune-ups in therapy to help maintain, right? This idea of maintenance, help me maintain where I am in my life and keep me moving forward.
Yeah. So it's not just one, like, because I know some people think again, like circle back to, but it's so much more than that, right? It's also working on your goal and where you want to go. So what would you say is it's the biggest takeaway or the most valuable aspect that you notice from people coming into your sessions? And
Yeah, I would say, first of all, I think it depends on what we are working, kind of what are the goals, what's the treatment plan? Because someone could come into therapy and say the most valuable thing was that they were able to heal past traumas. Some people may say the most valuable thing was being able to learn a coping strategy for anxiety. But if we're to look at the umbrella, I think one of the things that we can't overlook is just having a space where someone feels heard. They're able to have someone be able to reflect what they're hearing and be able to set some goals that kind of align with a direction they're moving in. I think one of the biggest the biggest things that people leave with are just strategies and tools to be able to help them cope with different things in their lives, whether it's managing being a parent, to something that they're dealing with within their career or, in the workplace. So it really looks different. But ultimately, I would say a safe space for someone to be able to feel like they're not being judged. And then tools and strategies for coping with whatever concern we're coming into therapy with.
Yeah, and really depends on the individual, right?
Absolutely.
Also connecting, feel like to me, I think seeking therapy is a sign of instead of weakness.
You
So like
know,
you said,
yeah, and King, I'm glad you said that. I think that kind of goes around. I don't know if it's like a generational thing, a cultural thing, all of the above. There has been this misconception that there's something really wrong with you, and therapy means a sign of weakness. And to your point, I think it's completely the opposite. It's a sign of strength that someone can come in and be able to have a space to be able to work on these issues. You also use the word stigma, and I think it's important for us to be able to continue to have conversations like this, to be able to break down the stigma, for us to be able to have compassion for people, not just in therapy that may be dealing with mental health concerns. These are all the ways that we kind of break down that idea of stigma around therapy.
100%. Uh, and up questions also just to real that you mind connecting within. It's not even to help with their mental health, but ultimately it's about your overall well-being at the end. Because then you're able to make better decisions just for your health and different aspects.
Absolutely. And I think this ties into not just the work that, we're mentioning that I do, but the work you're doing. And as you discuss the four pillars and that piece that comes from within, right? Well-being and being able to feel like you're moving forward in your life and taking care of yourself from the inside out.
Right. Okay. So now, what advice would you offer for those who feel like they need to talk to somebody, but they just out there or
Yeah, I would say the first step is probably that awareness, right? Recognizing you can benefit from having somebody thinking, being able to share, whether it's with friend, family member, medical practitioner, being able to put it out there and voice that you need some support. To take it to the next step, I would usually say, if not finding or knowing somebody like word of mouth, I would say you can take to different platforms. One of the platforms that's popular here in the US is called psychologytoday.com. On psychologytoday.com, you can do a very thorough search looking for someone that works with your insurance, the topic that you're seeking therapy for. You can search by zip code. I know you're in Taiwan. I am not sure Psychology Today is in Taiwan, but there is a platform called BetterHelp. And I'm sure there's other platforms in Taiwan where people can seek therapy and find, practitioners there to be able to take that first step with.
no, but just also to ask yourself when I first started so from BetterHelp. And also the like screening before, like when you sign up the programs, I do recommend.
Yeah, so I know, yeah, BetterHelp, like you were saying, there's questions that you can answer to kind of help, like these questionnaires to kind of help them narrow down who would work best with them. Um, again, there's so many
Right.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Also the issues feel like they're ready to look more into. So that will be also the beginning after you sign up.
Absolutely. There's so many great apps out there right now and ways to find therapists that I think it just makes it so much easier for someone that wants to seek help.
Yeah. Okay. So, I see therapy as a person, but I know for some people, not everybody have the access to it. So for those who, is there any practice that your clients that would be appropriate to share with our audience here? Buddy is being heavier emotion, uh, acute stress reaction or anxiety.
Yeah, I love talking about tools and skills to help us cope with anxiety, stress day to day. One of them that we can do and teach the audience would be something that I call muscle tension relaxation. Um, and or progressive, excuse me, let me correct myself, progressive muscle relaxation. But it has to do with relaxing and tensing the muscles. And I tell everybody this is something that you can do while you're standing up, sitting down, lying down. It can be quick and easy. But what we're going to do, I always tell people the first things to do would be to take a few deep breaths. So let's do it together, and whoever's watching us can practice with us. So I tell everybody to close their eyes, take a big deep breath in, and exhale. Uh, Let's do one more big deep breath in and exhale. And then what we'll do is we'll start, and you can either open your eyes or keep your eyes closed. But I like to start with the eyes. So if they're already closed, this is perfect. I like to say, close and squint your eyes. We're going to do all of these for about 5 seconds. And I want you to feel the tension as you're closing your eyes really tightly for 5 seconds. And then you're going to open them. The next part we're going to do would be our neck. We're going to hold our necks back as far as we can till we feel a little discomfort. And you got to stretch your neck all the way back, placing your head kind of against your shoulders for the count of 5. But I really want you to feel the tension in your neck while you're doing that. And then you release. Then what we're going to do is we're going to shrug our shoulders. And I want you to shrug your shoulders really tight till again you feel an uncomfortable feeling, a little discomfort, maybe even slight pain or tension. We're going to hold that for 5 seconds and release. Next, we'll do our hands. I want you to make a fist really tight and clench your fist really tight. 5 seconds. You can do this as long as you'd like. 5, 10 seconds. We'll just do it quick and release. As you're releasing with each one, I want you to have a deep breath, right? So after that release, so again, the concept here, I'm making it really fast. We would take time in therapy. You start with the top of your head and you move down your body. The next thing I would do is have you kind of hold your elbows in, followed by squeezing your stomach in really tight, again for about 5, 10 seconds, and then release and deep breath. And we take it all the way down to the toes, where we would kind of curl our toes again till we're feeling a little tension in the feet and the toes. 5, 10 seconds, release. And the concept here is to be able to show our bodies really what tension looks like, and then having that sigh of relaxation. And we're teaching the body a body mind connection through this process. So again, really fast in this situation, but we can take our times and go through this and use each body part to help teach us. It's really interesting stuff.
No, thank you, James, for sharing that practice with us because I guess to get a little personal here, and the story is never about me, but just really for those whoever that's out there, it's also experiencing the same thing. So when you're sharing having goosebumps, because so 3 years ago I had an anxiety during that time, like I just didn't have the
Mm.
tools. And knowing that after this cold really practice after knowing moments like that, sometimes you have to access to a therapy, but it's only really you and yourself who are there in moments like that. So to have the tools that you just share, it's so powerful. So thank you for that.
No, absolutely. Thanks for sharing. I think you mentioned something that many people deal and even struggle with, right? If they don't have the means or the access to therapy or know the first steps, I think it would be nice to be able to have little tools, as I always like to say, in your toolbox, right? To be able to pull out something to help us cope. If it's not access to therapy, there are many amazing books online that you can find with helping us work through tension, anxiety, stress. And sometimes those could be great tools as well.
Yeah, also meditation, breath work, those could amazing tools.
Absolutely. I'm an advocate. I love Wim Hof. You can find him online. You know who he is. You can,
Ah,
yeah, you can just Google him for people at home that are interested in learning. And that's about great breath work, right? So there are so many free videos that we can access online. There's a plethora of tools out there. It's and easy at our fingertips, right? So that's just another one.
yeah. I mean, it is just to stay informed, right? With
Absolutely.
the resource. So now, coming to the end of our talk today. James, I could talk with you for
I know it goes by so fast.
I know. So we're with our time together. Here are a few rapid fire questions
Oh my gosh. So,
to further connect with the the killer himself. So, what is your favorite form of self care?
oh my gosh. There are a few. I will say, one of the easiest ones for me, I love music therapy. I love listening to songs and how they just kind of evoke emotions. So I always put in like an earbud. If you can couple that with movement, whether it's going for walks around the block, your neighborhood, or some cardio in the gym, I think that's a great way to be able to practice self-care and being able to cope with some anxiety and stress. The other thing that I really like sounds silly, but I love pet therapy. And I have many dogs at home, whatever kind of animal. There's something to be said about being able to hold and snuggle a pet. There's actually chemicals that are released in that process. So that's a great way to be able to cope and relax and work yourself through some tension at times. Self care.
Right. And next, so here at Delicious Mind, we have the four pillars. The work within. So, what is the work within means to you?
When you say the work within, I think about somebody that is, emotionally sound, somebody that is working through, any mental health concerns that they may have, learning how to cope with stressors. I think someone that is emotionally regulated, they have some emotional intelligence, if you will, right? Somebody that's good and at peace with themselves. To me, that's doing the work from within. Not to mention, in your line of work, making sure that eating and sleeping and, nutrition and diet, all of those things are on point. All of those things are, we're checking the box to make sure we're taking care of ourselves. That's doing the work from within.
Yeah, definitely. And how I define a delicious mind as well, somebody who's really connected within. I just wanted to add in, so is there anything that's really on your heart that which haven't mentioned what I asked about?
You did a beautiful job. You covered so many things, Anting. I'm glad that we had this time. And I think you really, in such a short amount of time, you covered everything.
Oh my God, James. Thank you so much. You truly have been such a gift and so generous with your time. I've also been really personally inspired by your work. So, really, thank you for the work you do and also sharing your journey too. And
You're so sweet. And we will be in contact and we'll continue following other people and making more content for people to really see and understand.
yes, and for more meaningful conversations.
I love it. Best of luck, Anting, and I look forward to talking to you more.
Likewise. See you. Thank
See
you.
you later. Of course. Bye.